What's good, YouTube? It's Calsoscope. I'm back with another video, and in this Photoshop tutorial you will be seeing how I created this Brandon Ingram graphic. So let's get to the video, but make sure you guys slap that like button before we get into it. Did you do it? Did you hit that like button yet, man? My God. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is mask out your player. I'm going to use the pen tool, but you could try and use select subject. I don't know if that's going to work very well, but let's see. It doesn't work too bad, so I guess I can use select subject on here and then just get rid of things with the lasso tool, shortcut L, and hold down Alt when you want to take away parts. So just make sure you make your mask really nice, and whatever tool you use, just make sure that you do a good job of staying consistent and getting a nice mask, because we don't want shaky mask on our design. So do that and then we'll be back. Alright, so now once you got the mask here, you're gonna have a little bit of like weird blackness on the outside of the hair, so double click on your layer mask. You're gonna use your feather edge brush tool and you're just gonna brush some out, just trying to make it more smooth on the outside instead of just really rough. So you don't have to go crazy, but just use your brush and go over it real soft. Now we have our mask, so what you're gonna do is hold down Control and press the new layer icon to put a layer beneath this, and then we're gonna put it on, I'm gonna put it on a solid color of gray for right now. And now we're gonna move into doing the skin. So what I like to do is I like to duplicate it again, and then I just put this one beneath, and this is just like extra, and this is so Brandon mask, and then I'll usually convert it to smart object off the rip, and then go to filter, camera raw filter. Now this is loading up, and this is we're just gonna make him more sharp and all those types of good stuff. So I'm gonna bring the sharpening up a good amount on this, right? And I'm gonna go to basic and kind of just play around with some of these things here. Bring out some of the highlights, hide some or darken some of the shadows. The whites, I'll drop those down. Then for clarity, I usually bring this up. It's always depends on the photo, but yeah, what you want to kind of focus on is making him look sharper, especially for like sports designs. You usually want your subjects to be kind of sharp. That's just how it is. Bring the texture up a little bit, and then I press OK. So now we have a way sharper mask of Brandon Ingram. And then one other thing, when you're out of camera raw filter, just duplicate the mask, or duplicate it again, and then put, instead of the camera raw, we're gonna put high pass on. So put a little bit of high pass on just to make some things stand out a little bit more, and then you just gotta choose a blending mode that is good for you. So in this case, I'm seeing linear lights pretty good, and now he's like wicked sharp. So then you could just bring down some of the opacity. Alright, so once you do that and it's looking pretty cool, I'm set with how he looks. I like it, and got all the whites out. Only other thing is I use Getty images, so I have to get this little part out. So I'll just go over the lasso tool, shift F5, and now I'm gonna put him onto the composition. Alright, so once I have the mask of Brandon Ingram, now I'm on a different canvas, and I'm just trying to figure out where I want him to be. But what I'm thinking is having like a pretty gray background, and then putting a texture on. And I'm thinking about using this texture right here. So what I would do is just copy it, and then I go back to my layer and press Control V. And now once this texture is on there, just move it around to somewhere that looks professional, looks nice and good. And then once you do that, you can put it on like a smart object, whatever you want to do, and then you can adjust it from there if you want, like add levels and tweak it somewhat, bring out some brightness, put some more shadow on there. It's up to you. And then the other thing that I'm thinking about is having a polygonal shape here like this, and putting it behind Brandon Ingram, and then having different mask of him coming out to just enhance the photo and start bringing it all together. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is use this as my base to put mask on, and I'm going to mask out other pictures of Brandon Ingram and place them all into here to enhance the design. So let's go and do that. Once I get back onto this is the first image that I'm going to use, and I'm going to make this image actually black and white. So what I'm just going to do is go to channel mixer, clip it to that, and I'm going to go to monochrome, and from monochrome I'm going to just play around with where I want all the tones to be. So I'm just playing around the reds, greens, and blues, and then I'll probably also add either a curves or levels, whatever you want to add, and then just kind of make some adjustments to your liking that you want to see on your graphic. So that'll be the first one, and then I'm going to repeat the process for about probably 2 or 3 more images, kind of just filling out this this shape right here. Alright, so I was going to use this picture in the middle as well, but I'm deciding that it doesn't look the right way. So actually what I'm coming up with is kind of just blending this into the scene. So I'm just going to use blending options and drag my sliders to get this to blend into the scene actually, and that actually looks pretty cool to me. So maybe I'll use a couple of excess photos of Brandon Ingram around the design and blend them in. Alright, so now that I have the main 3 that I'm going to be having that are coinciding with this polygon, what I'm going to do is mask them out on the bottoms to make sure that they're fitting inside the polygon. So what you can do is, I'm actually going to remove him, so it's going to be Brandon front. Okay, so I'm going to remove him, and I'm just going to click on the polygon and actually just move them a little bit each, and then I'm going to click on the polygon, and we're going to mask them out to the outside of the polygon so that they're not really on the outside. Like everything above is going to be still there, but below I want to make sure it's really nice and crisp. So I'm going to go on the polygon, and then I'm going to press Control Shift I to do an inverse of it. Then I'm going to click on my mask of my players and invert the mask, use my white brush, and bring them back onto the top. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do for each of these dudes, and yeah, then we'll be back. Alright, so now that we have the mask, I'm gonna pick a texture to go inside of this polygon as well. So I'm gonna open my textures again, and I do like this one right here, this abstract pattern, so I'm gonna use this on the polygon. So I'm gonna Control C, go on my polygon, Control V, and clip it to. And once I clip it to, then I'm going to just resize it just like that, and also make it into a smart object and play around a little bit on its adjustments too. And I want it to be a little bit darker so we have a little bit of contrast, so that's what I'm going ahead and doing right now. On this polygon, I feel like it's a little bit dull, so I'm gonna see what looks good. I might try a drop shadow on the outside, just like that, maybe on like 90, and then drop it down. I think that looks kind of cool. You could try out a bunch of different things, but drop shadows are often pretty cool to use, but just don't try to overuse them or they just don't look good. But yeah, just to add a little bit of separation from the background to the picture, that could be something that can help you out. I'm also moving around this Brandon Ingram image to somewhere where I feel like it fits better, because I do want it to be there and I like it, and I kind of want to add a couple more, but I don't want it to be on the bottom because I just remembered that I have to make a shadow of Kelly Oubre's feet, so it wouldn't really make sense for that to be right under there. It would be creating 2 surfaces. I like this grungy dot texture, so I'm going to use this on the canvas as well, and just try and place it some spots where it's going to look good. Whenever you're placing like a bunch of textures and stuff like that, you never really want to overdo it. You kind of just want to just be smooth about it, right? And just place them in the right spots, make them not too large, and then you can just duplicate them, but just vary it around the canvas and have fun with it, honestly. So whatever kind of looks cool to you, you should just do, because at the end of the day, it's your design. So thing I want to do is I don't want to have this all black and white, so I'm thinking about bringing in some floral patterns, but right now I'm just gonna see what it looks like when I bring back some detail from this jersey, just this jersey probably in particular, and then yeah, like I said, bring back or put some floral patterns on. But right now I'm just gonna bring back some color into the scene so we can start kind of getting a sense of, well, this isn't only a black and white photo, there's some color here too, and that'll make your design start popping out. For the shadow underneath Brandon Ingram, I'm just gonna go to my ellipse tool and put like a rough ellipse, like just something around here, something like that on black, right? And then put it underneath him. So that looks pretty cool, but it needs to be a little bit more realistic. So I'm just gonna make it into a smart object, and also just make a layer mask like that. Boom. Drop my flow down on my brush, and it's gonna be more poignant to the top. So I'm just gonna lightly brush around that, just something light like that. On the edges, you don't want it to be too rough. And then drop my opacity down a little bit. You know, there's many ways to do your shades, but I like to just keep it kind of simple when I'm doing designs, because I don't really have to do nothing crazy. So something like that. Then I'll drop the opacity down too, and also soften the top some as well. And then I'll add a layer above and just make this one a little bit darker, just because it's directly under his foot. So I just want to show that it would be more dark directly under his foot and right here. I added one more curves on that I felt comfortable doing, because I feel like it brought it out a little bit more. And during my designs, I always like play around with the curves, but you see that's before, that's after. I think this just fits more to like what my style is and what I want to see, so I just clipped it to the rest of these Brandon Ingrams and the main picture. Now to kind of spice things up, I'm gonna add in some roses and some things that are just going to make this picture have some more color, because I like it right now, but it doesn't have a lot of flavor, if you know what I mean. So that's what we're doing right now, just adding some flavor to this picture. Let's see, I'm gonna put it, let's see, right around, I feel like right around there is pretty cool, so we can do that right around there. Mask the polygon to it, and like that, put it behind him. And I'm going to make it into a channel mixer layer, so I'm going to go channel mixer, make it monochrome first, something of that sort, merge it again, and then I'm going to pick my color that I want it to be. Let's go with blue. Let's go with like that Pelicans blue, and I'll set it to I'm gonna set it to linear light, and then adjust from there. I think that's pretty good, yeah. So like that, and then we can make a duplicate, and then just move it a little bit so you get a little bit of variance like that. Same color on, but this time we're gonna place it behind, So right here I'm just using other elements that I want to be in the design, and I'm actually just utilizing my gradient map. So utilize your gradient maps, channel mixers, and your adjustments, and you'll get there. So there's something about me and liking to add random shapes to my design. So out of nowhere I decided I'm gonna add this rectangle, and I just twisted it. So I think this looks really cool over here. I don't know why, but I just like it. It kind of just looks like a background, so I'm gonna keep that right there, and I'm gonna think about what color I want it to be. I think like the red actually looks pretty decent to be on there with him, and then just a little bit darker like that, and then maybe we'll do something like just brushing it out to only be right over where Ingram is there. And then what if we see if we do it on the other side? Like I said, a lot of what I do when I'm doing designs, I'll just go off my dome, but what I like to do is just kind of be free with it. So that one tracks him like right a lot around there, so that's pretty cool actually. So what if we flip this one like here, and then this one tracks him as well. Now that could be pretty cool. And then masking out from the bottom, and then always with this type of stuff you can add a texture to this to help it out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get one of my textures that I had. I'm gonna delete some of these and place them on top of the rectangle. Like that to get the texture going. Boom. I'm gonna go on my levels, adjust the level. Alright, and I'm just having fun with it, just experimenting, and it's coming together really cool. Alright, so now I'm gonna do the name. So what I'm just gonna do for the name is I'm gonna add a rectangle in here like this, and then I'm gonna skew the rectangle. Skew it all together, Calvin. Yep, skew it like this. Boom. I'll turn it into a live shape, whatever. And then I'm going to just line it up with how this polygon is going, if Photoshop will let me do that. So just line it up around here, just like this, and I'm gonna elongate it. And I'm just gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna move it somewhere that I want it to be. That could be a cool shape if we just size it down, and then you could write Brandon Ingram, right? Just like that. Alright, so on these rectangles, they look okay. I think what I'm gonna do is once I'm done, I'm gonna like blend them into the background too, because I don't even really want his name to stick out. Now that I'm like seeing it, I'm like, I don't even want his name to stick out that much, to be honest. So I'm just gonna change the color of these. To something like that. And then with these rectangles, I'm adding drop shadows to add a little bit of depth. Alright, and then once I have this, I'm gonna put it into a group together. And then I'm gonna press Shift F5. That's my shortcut for making a smart object. And then I'm gonna blend them in. Alright, so I have this little picture of Brandon Ingram here, and then I'm seeing this shape right here, and I like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a shape based off of these. So I'm just going to follow this. So I'm following this shape to the best of my ability. I could have just used the rectangle on skew, but I'm just going to follow it. There we go. Okay, so I'm just following it with the polygon lasso tool, and I'm going to fill it with solid color. It doesn't really matter what solid color I use, because I'm just going to use some of his picture right here to go inside of there. So I'm just going to put this on top and clip it to that. All right, so now we have Brandon Ingram's face in there. like this. It's just like a little thumbnail. I don't know, I think it looks pretty cool. So we're gonna use a thumbnail like that, and then I'm gonna put camera on it as well, of course. Go to my basics, the contrast up, highlights, shadows, you know, play around with all that type of good stuff like before till you find something you like. Detail, sharpen up like a mug, right? And then go to image. We're gonna I'll use black and white this time, and we're just gonna see what looks good. So right here in this section, you're just gonna see me changing the color on the bottom and adding a little bit of color on the bottom to supply for the top. And then I'm also changing Brandon Ingram's skin to this gray. I felt like it matched the design a little bit better. Alright, so yeah, at this point, like, all the quote unquote hard stuff is done. Don't think this is really too hard to make. If you just take your time and focus on what you want to do, it's not really that hard to make designs. But yeah, so with that being said, all you have to really do is do the finishing touches. So I'm going to do some feathers falling. I'm going to put it on blur gallery. I'm going to use path blur, because path blur is like motion blur on steroids, so I like to use this one. I'm also going to add a little bit of glow on the right side that's hitting them. So I'm going to put this right here as this rectangle. Boom. Then I'm going to put it on linear dodge, and also make the rectangle bigger right there, right? So then I'm going to add layer mask, gradient tool, boom. Now there's just a little bit of light coming from that side, and maybe even drop it a little bit, yeah, just like that. And then I'm just gonna paint on linear dodge like really softly. I'm not even going on like the mask or anything, because I'm just doing it really soft to just add a little bit of haze, add a little bit of something, you know, make it a little saucy. Why not? Just like that. And then I'm gonna go to camera raw from this one. So go to filter, camera raw, and camera raw is where you're just gonna rock out. You're just gonna have fun with it, see what you want to do on your design. And yeah, so I like to use the basics, and I also like to use the color grade. Those are the two that I like to use a lot, but I don't want to change too much because I want it to look pretty gray. But yeah, here's your opportunity to really rock out. Like, everything before builds up for you to be able to make camera raw just go super smooth and look super good. And there you have it, guys, a Brandon Ingram design right here on the page. You guys saw all the steps that I took to get to my final composition, and just I hope this video helped you guys out a lot. Let me know if you guys want me to do more design tutorials or design breakdowns. Let me know what you'd like to see from me. But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning into the video. It's been Calsoscoped, and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share with a friend, man. And until next time, stay scoped. I'm out. Peace.